Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Guys, it is hotter than hell today. Um, I don't know where you are, what state you're in, or even if you're watching from another country. It is literally about 98 degrees here right now. And thank goodness I'm under the AC for now um, because it's like really hot. And yeah, so take care of yourself. I know this is a coffee cup, but I have ice water in this. Let's see, you guys see that? Ice water. And I also drink tea. I drink a lot of tea, a lot of different teas. So stay hydrated is my point with I'm saying in this message because it's really extremely hot. We have a heat advisory here today as well. So it's important. So take care of yourself. That's another way that you can take care of yourself. So I hope these messages are continuing to help you guys continue to show up here and let's keep this going. Keep in mind, I'm not a therapist, social worker, or a counselor. I'm just someone speaking of hell, I've gone through hell and back. And I'm here to talk about ways I have become an overcomer instead of succumbing to all these trials and tribulations. So let's get into this topic today. I hope you guys are doing well. The title today is Do Unto Others What You Want Done Unto You. Do unto others what you want done unto you. We're going to talk about this one. Like I said, all these topics are connected to healing. Because what happens when you decide to heal your mental and physical health from trauma, trials, and situations? Um, Other things come up. For example, malicious lies, jealousy, envy, and hate, all without a justifiable cause. Sometimes people will do this when you change your life for the better. And when you, in my case, or in your case as well, if you make vows to God and you're keeping those vows, this is the kind of stuff sometimes we have to deal with. And what I chose to do is to acknowledge it and to set strong boundaries. And with setting strong boundaries, I'm reiterating that this is my space and I choose to heal instead of dealing with, drama and noise and negativity. Because when you heal the mental and physical and you take care of yourself, you self care, it turns into self love. Remember, I was wearing that shirt yesterday. Um, Welcome to the Self Love Club. Because once you start to love yourself, you see what's not for your highest good and you see what's for your highest good. And that is so important, guys, because once you start to see what's for your highest good, that noise around you do not matter. You know, you tune that out. When someone hates your blessings from God to the point that they will do anything to try to separate you from God and your blessings. And I'm talking about this one today because when you make a vow to God, you're telling God that, especially when you start to heal, and little vows that you can keep. Like I talked about this probably, I don't know, maybe a few videos back and that helps me to stay on track as well because I don't play with God. If I make vows, one of the vows is to show up here. There's a few vows, but I make sure that I am consistent with them. And when someone tries to interfere in that by, lies, jealousy, vicious lies, saying you're doing things you've never done, just to create some type of distraction from what you're doing. They're not just interfering or trying to interfere with what you're doing. What they're doing is playing with God because if God honors those vows that you're doing, and you guys will know if He's honoring that because your life will start going in a specific direction, which is up. And you're doing those things, and somebody is in the background, ha ha, he, thinking it's funny and playing around and doing everything in their power to distract you, take you off your path, make you slip and fall. And anybody who's dealing with this is why I'm talking about this today, because this is what I have been dealing with. And the old me would probably want to give up. But like I said, I've changed so many things in my life for the better because of those vows and because God, I'm writing with God. This is not a one man show. And He has helped me tremendously. You don't have to be religious, you don't have to be this or that to have a relationship with God. And I'm living proof of that. And I'm very humble because of it. And one of the missions that I am dedicated to is not just helping myself by staying on this healing path, but to help others too, because I know it works. It's hard. Believe me, it's hard like no tomorrow, but it's worth it because as you start taking these steps, especially starting with therapy, and then you can figure out all the rest of it in like the pieces of the puzzle, that you get a box of puzzle and there's 1,000 pieces in there, and you don't know what that picture is until you start to sit down, take your time and put it together piece by piece. Then you start to see the background as to what that picture is. That's what it is when you make those vows. You don't know how it's going to turn out. I didn't even know I was going to make vows to God. But as I started this path of healing and doing the work, starting with therapy, which I still do to this day, and making a pro and con list, setting strong boundaries, crying, lots of tears, and addressing the elephant in the room, no matter how painful it is. Once I started doing these things, my life changed for the better. Once I started to be consistent with the vows that I made to God, my life started to change for the better. And I'm very grateful. And when people see that, some people don't like it. They want the old version of who you used to be back. And you're no longer that person because you've healed that hurt. You've healed that pain. You healed all the tons of bricks that you've been carrying, your bricks, everybody else's burdens, and etc. and so forth. I gave everybody else back their own burdens, and then I give my burdens to God so that I can stay on this path, stay focused. And when things like this happen that I just spoke about, I go into deep prayers with God and talk about it. Oh, I need to do this, but this is happening over here. Of course, He already knows what's going on, but that's how I build my relationship with Him, and He will handle it. I've seen situations where karma has been so intense, on these individuals. Please don't do things like this. Let people heal. Let people heal so that they can grow and evolve, because interfering with that, and especially somebody who made vows to God, you interfering with what He is telling, what He has this person doing. And that's not going to ever go okay. That's never okay. Let people be who they are. Let people just be. And sometimes some people who are haters and who's on a hate train and on a drama train, drama starters, and just because their life is not going the way they want it, and everybody can get on this path to heal, but it's not easy, the work itself. And some people just don't want to do the work. They just want to, take from other people. And this is why it's so important to set boundaries and to make a pro and con list of what people are bringing to the table in your life. Because, people can say A, B, C, D, and E, but if they're not bringing F, G, H, and, I and J to your life, and you're giving everything, and they're throwing you bones and breadcrumbs, then there's an imbalance there. There's an imbalance. And so the pro and con list is to show you what you're bringing to the table and what the other parties are bringing to the table. And if what you're doing is outweighing what they're doing because they are throwing you bones and breadcrumbs, then it's time to set some boundaries. It's time to set some strong boundaries. And in my case, addressing these things wasn't easy, and having these conversations with other people, do unto me as I do unto you. And some people can't do that. They, because they're slackers and they don't want to do the work. It's too hard, it's too much, and they just want to ride your coattail, you know. And I refuse to let anybody ride my coattail at this point. The old version of myself would just make excuses, but the new me, and I don't have any problem setting boundaries and letting people know I'm setting boundaries, because this part of my life, I am healing and taking care of myself. And people should be proud if somebody really love you and care about you, no matter what your connection is to them, family, friends, business, relationship, whatever. And that's a good thing, because if you don't heal your physical and mental health, then you can't help yourself or do anything else around you or help anybody else. And that's a problem. And when you go to God and ask Him to help you, and you are actually doing the work, no matter how hard it is, you're taking steps, baby steps. He's going to be right behind the scene helping you. I promise you that. I'm living proof of that, with no physical support system except for therapy and me and God, and that's how I've been doing it. And it's been hard at first, very difficult. But like I tell you guys in every video, the key factor that I use is persevering through all of it. Just keep going. And one of the other things I want to say about this is that people with this malicious gossip, let's say, for example, you grew up in a certain environment, maybe not a good environment, but we can't help what family we're connected to, and we can't help the environment that we grew up in as minors. All those things are beyond our control, but it's important as we get older and become adults that we don't let our past, of where we live or how we grew up or what type of family we grew up in, we don't let that define who we are. That's important, to be yourself. That's why I always say, be yourself. You see, guys, be yourself. And I have a shirt, for all these different things I talk about. Still, and I like to get more and more of these type of shirts, because it's a positive, uplifting thing. Because people always want to categorize, not all people, but some people want to categorize someone from what they came from, what family they came from, and etc. and so forth. Be your own person, and people should really not judge a book by its cover without reading the pages within, because people do that a lot, and they really shouldn't. And no matter what environment you come from, no matter who, what, why, or where, be your authentic self and let people love you for you, and not a fake version of what the world is today. Fake love, fake kissing, fake hugs, all this fakeness. Just be yourself, and that was hard for me for a while, because I was subservient to everything, the first part of my life, because that's how I was, growing up, just to keep people in my life. But some people have to go. When you change your life for the better and you work on yourself and you look at the pain and the trauma, those things you have to heal, because if you don't heal them, they stay stuck within you and you can't grow, heal, help yourself, or help anybody else. And once you go through all this pain and all this stuff that happened to you, now you have a story, guys. You have an experience, maybe a few experiences, and you can share those experiences like I do here with other people, authentic ones. You're not sitting here just making up anything, things that you went through that affected your soul, your entire being, but you made it through. And what I do is talk to people how I made it through, by not giving up, by knowing that I am worth it. Once you start to self-love, you start to look in the mirror, you start to say, I am worth it. I don't deserve toxic love. I don't deserve toxic friendships or relationships, no matter whether it's coming from family, business setting, so-called friends, etc. You can change your life for the better, but you have to continue to move forward and be consistent and persevering. through the trials and tribulations, because not everybody is going to be happy for you. Not everybody want to see you grow, heal, and evolve. And you know why some people don't want to see that is because they may be leeching on to you like you're a doormat or something. You may have allowed that in the past, but as you grow, heal, and evolve, you're taking care of self. In my case, I made a decision to put me first, and it's not a selfish one, because I spent years, you know, um, doing for everybody else. Now it's my turn. And when people don't appreciate who you are and they think they supposed to ride your coattail, that's when you have to set some strong boundaries. Especially when you had conversations and the conversations with them, they're not hearing what you're saying. It's just going in one ear, coming out the other. It's time to set strong boundaries because you have a right to put yourself first. You have a right to heal and grow and evolve and be the best that you can be. How can you draw in real love if you don't love yourself? How can you give love if you don't know what it's about or you don't love you? And as you start to do the work, I promise you guys, little by little, you're going to feel that inner peace. And when you feel that inner peace, nobody can take that away from you. Sometimes you have to, in my case, have to let people go because they didn't understand when you put yourself first. They call it selfish, this and that. And it's really not, because in order to heal, grow, and evolve, you have to address that elephant in the room. You have to continue moving forward. And I don't do this alone. Like I said, I do this with the help of God, putting God first. If people want to play with God, they're going to just find out how that's going to go. Especially, like I said, getting back to that other situation I said, playing with somebody who made vows to God and trying to stop and slow them down for fulfilling their vows is very dangerous. And like it said, something that says, not something, but a word that says in God's word, touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. I mean, that's not there just to be there and just for fun or entertainment. That scripture has real meaning. So people need to just do unto others what they don't, what they want done to them. If you don't want anyone lying on you, playing games, doing the most and the worst, then don't bring that to anybody else's table. That should be simple, but for some people it's not. It's complex, and I don't understand why it's complex. But karma will come to those who don't follow that, especially when somebody is in their own lane, building themselves up and trying to help build others up. Because sometimes we all need help, guys. Because none of this stuff called life comes with the instruction manual. We sometimes have to sit and figure these things out. And like I said, the first step was therapy, as I do weekly, and I still do that. And I still encourage you guys to start there. And it helped to build up my self-esteem when I started to do the work. And as you do it, you will build up your self-esteem as well. And those who are like toxic and want to bring that into your life, the best advice I can give is to set strong boundaries, because that's what I had to do. In many cases, I just had to cut off, block, and delete because it was affecting my physical and mental health. Anything that's affecting you in that way, set strong boundaries, and continue to show up here, because every day is going to be a different message, but it all connects to healing. And some of these messages might be resonating. I did a video a few days ago, and I got over like 1.2 thousand views on it. So I know these messages are resonating with you. And let's continue to show up. Please, guys, subscribe to the channel, comment, let me know how these messages are helping you. And the key factor, I'm going to say again, persevere, because we're talking about you, your physical and mental health, which is everything. If you don't care about you, how do you expect others to do the same? And let's get to a place where we build ourselves up to be at a place of inner peace, unbothered, instead of broken down into pieces. That's the message today, guys. Thank you for showing up. Share the messages with other people. And thank you for being here. guys, and I'll see you sometime tomorrow. Please subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get a notification when I do come on live. Thank you again, guys. Enjoy your day. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, and I'll see you sometime tomorrow. This is Lisa, shedding love and light always. Thank you, guys. Bye for now.